Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. Today is Sunday, September 10th, 2017, and in this video, we're going to tell you the news that happened this week that you should know, but don't, because sadly, the mainstream media and now a large portion of the alternative media don't want to touch these subjects, but we will. And we're going to get into how Syria won the war against ISIS, which we told you was going to happen like a year ago, but Israel is standing in its way, which we warned you about a few days ago in our videos. We're going to talk about China issuing a dire threat against the United States, which we warned you this week this was going to happen. More coverage on the bad news for the U.S. Petrodollar and U.S. hegemony as the world reserve currency. And of course, more corporatocracy news. Now, as you may know, the powers that be don't like you talking about the corporatocracy, as we've been screwed now for many years by YouTube and Google. And what we've actually been seeing happening to us a month ago is now happening to Steven Crowder and independent journalist Tim Pool, who had their entire channels demonetized. Well, first of all, welcome to the club, guys. A month ago, 660 of our videos were just mass demonetized no matter what the content was, predominantly concentrating on the most highest view count videos and the most earning videos for this channel, which proves what has been happening to us. And now Tim Pool and Steven Crowder is not an algorithm problem, but a blacklist problem by the Google, Alphabet, YouTube monopoly that of course has a large string of unethical business behavior. So, you know, just to offset losing our entire income, we just set up a store on teespring.com/WeAreChange, where we have a new limited edition logo that's available on sweatshirts, t-shirts, long sleeves that will only be available till October 2nd, and there's only 45 of them left in stock. So if you want to pick up some limited edition WeAreChange merchandise and at the same time help real independent media from, you know, losing our entire income, check out teesprings.com/WeAreChange. The link will be in the description below. Now, of course, moving on with the news, many people in Florida are bracing for Hurricane Irma, which is hitting the coast as we're speaking right now. Authorities are getting ready for this storm by warning people not to shoot at the hurricane. Now, of course, natural disaster news is a great boom business for the news industry right now, as we're seeing a massive oversaturation of coverage detailing natural disasters. But I wanted to reshift our focus on some of the other things happening in this world that you deserve to know about. And one of the biggest things that happened this week that is being massively underreported by the mainstream media is the fact that it is very clear that Syria has won the war against ISIS and that Bashar al-Assad is the clear victor. Now, this is something that we've been telling you was going to happen over a year ago. Now, the fact that the Syrian government, with alliance of the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, and Hezbollah, defeated the rebel groups inside of Syria that were supported by Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United States is not really news to me, since we've been saying that this was going to happen over a year ago on this YouTube channel. But there's still many present dangers brewing currently in the Middle East that we've been talking about earlier this week. And now with ISIS almost completely destroyed in Syria, we are seeing Israel just a few days ago just launch airstrikes on the Syrian government and Bashar al-Assad's forces, which what many people call is an act of desperation, as the bigger geopolitical goals of the United States, of Saudi Arabia, and Israel have failed in the region. They have failed to get regime change in Syria, and now face a more Iranian-dominated Middle East, which Israel is doing everything in its power to prevent, including the possibility of starting another war in the region, as one is ending right now. Just Thursday early morning, Israel attacked a Syrian military base, which made the Syrian government respond in a statement and warned of serious repercussions for. The attack reportedly killed 2 people, but most importantly, comes just over 2 weeks after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Vladimir Putin in order to discuss the future of Syria. And according to, quote, many accounts, the meeting was very contentious, with Israel stating that they would not tolerate an Iranian presence in Syria, that the Israelis threatened to assassinate Syrian President Bashar al-Assad by bombing his palace, and tried to derail the U.S.-Russian brokered de-escalation deal. According to Russian news accounts, the Israeli Prime Minister was frantic, too emotional, and, quote, at times even close to panic. This, of course, brings the United States in a very interesting geopolitical situation, as U.S. and Syrian forces are about to collide in the same territory where ISIS was just destroyed. And this is on the heels of Israeli troops getting ready and actually entering the Golan Heights region, which is territorial land in contention between Israel and Syria. Now, Israel has stated that they did this in order to prevent a chemical weapons attack by the Syrian government against the civilian population, and that they were, quote, protecting civilians civilians by launching this preemptive attack, but I think in reality prove a bigger geopolitical purpose and are motivated to not fully lose the war in Syria, which we warned you about on August 25th, 2017. In a video titled "Who is Jared Kushner and Why We Should All Worry Now," which we went into great detail how Jared Kushner was sent to Israel by Donald Trump not to negotiate a peace deal with the Palestinians and Israelis, but to really negotiate and decide the future fate of Syria, which we said would lead to more military conflict in the region that we're seeing happening right now. It wasn't me just saying this, it was also a Syrian girl who released a video on August 27th predicting this would happen, and it did. Now, moving on in other U.S. ally disastrous Middle East news, we of course have Saudi Arabia, which Fox News yesterday declared allegedly funded a dry run for the 9/11 terrorist attacks. This of course comes from a new lawsuit that is claiming these accusations against Saudi Arabia. But of course, yet again, this is not news to me because in July of 2016, shortly after the 28 pages from the 9/11 report were declassified, we found out that exact information, which of course we reported to you, even though those declassified pages were redacted in very important instances. We were telling you this literally a year ago, and it was underplayed because of the coup d'etat that happened in Turkey. And I think with the 9/11 anniversary happening just tomorrow, it's important for everyone to wrap their head around the very important fact that many intelligence agencies, whether from Israel, United States, and Saudi Arabia, participated together with a lot of strong evidence backing the claim that they either let it happen or made it happen. Now, I spent years actually talking about this and investigating this, and with tomorrow being the anniversary, expect more coverage on this issue from us tomorrow. But I think it should be clear for a lot of people, the only thing allowing the United States to have world hegemony is, of course, the war industry. And with the United States spending more on defense than the next 8 countries combined, with your only tool being a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. As we're getting more news this week of the United States sending an additional 3,500 more troops to Afghanistan, which of course shows you that this is not a drawdown like other alternative media personalities tried to tell you it really was, but just a continuation of the same failed military foreign policy that we have seen continued no matter who is president. This week we're also getting more striking news from China, which we've been warning you about that the mainstream media has been downplaying, with them this week issuing a statement that they will back North Korea if the United States strikes them first. We told you this was happening behind the scenes in a video we did 3 days ago called China's Gold New World Order, 6 days ago with a video called The Hidden Truth About North Korea, and of course many other videos. And now the reality that we've been telling you about has set in, and it looks like a nuclear North Korea is here to stay, which underlines a bigger problem for the United States, and that is the supremacy of the U.S. Petrodollar, which again took another hit this week, with Venezuela announcing it's about to ditch the US dollar and start using the Russian ruble, the won, the Indian rupee, the euro, and any other currency except for the US dollar, which I will respond by saying, keep an eye out for Venezuela and a possible coup that may happen to the Venezuelan president very soon, which of course we're going to cover very closely on this YouTube channel. And now in other horrible corporatocracy news, we have the credit reporting services Equifax that recently compromised the information of 143 million US customers. Now, after finding out that all of their customers' private information was hacked, they decided to wait on that information as 3 Equifax senior executives sold shares worth almost $1.8 million in the days after the company discovered a security breach. Waiting almost 41 days with your information compromised, well, of course, for their corporate profits, leaving you screwed as they rushed to clean up the mess that they created with their poor security protocols, screwing you over for the benefit of their corporation. But you know, that's just standard business practice now. And so is spying on your competition, which Uber was found doing under a federal investigation as they were spying on their competitor Lyft drivers. Just, you know, more unethical business practices by a company partly owned by Google and Goldman Sachs. Google of which is just becoming more tyrannical by the day, as the company that they own, YouTube, just removed a video of a former British politician speaking about immigration and Islam, literally deleting mainstream political speech videos by a British politician because of YouTube's policy on quote promote hate speech. And I don't know why, but there shouldn't be any illusion of freedom of speech, of freedom of privacy, of any freedom at all. From a CIA-dominated corporation that is becoming integral in our daily lives and has the most valuable resource of all, and that, of course, is information. I've been warning you about this for a while, for years now. But until we stop using and empowering these awful monopolies and corporations to have an influence on our lives, we face the repercussions of them controlling it. So yeah, that's the news for this week. If you enjoyed it or found this information helpful or useful, please share it with your friends and family members. Remember, together we are all collective consciousness. Let's rise above all the hate and the fear and the misinformation and malarkey that has no actual impact in our lives. Concentrate on the issues that really matter and move forward away from them in a productive way with a world that we all want to see and deserve. I love you guys. Thank you so much for donating on wearechange.org/donate and being there for us where virtually every establishment system is against us. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.